you ready to discover who you came here to be? Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. Human Design is a system and a tool that is here to empower you and show you your greatest potential. Come learn with us and discover who you really are. Hi friends, Crystal here. Before we dive into this episode, I wanted to jump on here real quick and let you know about a few of our offers. We don't just do transits on here, and we don't just interview people. We also have deeper ways for you to connect to yourself as well as others. Our first offer is actually completely free. It's our free guide to honoring your strategy and authority and tips and tricks to do so. If you struggle with this place, if you struggle with what your authority is, if you're still confused about your type, I highly suggest picking up this free guide. We also have our manual to your true self. If you struggle with the languaging behind human design, if you don't understand the parts of the body graph or how to read your chart, I highly recommend picking up our manual to your true self. We go through all the key terms and ways to integrate this information. Let's move on to our classes. We have a bunch of classes that we just launched that are all connected to the variables. The variables are connected to the 4 transformations. So this is your unique path to your true self. And our first class is actually our determination class. And this class is helping you understand the way in which you eat. It shows you the correct environment for you to eat in, and also the way in which you take in information. Our next class is our Cognition Class that is also connected to the brain, and it helps you understand the way your body interprets frequency. It is your unique super sense that aligns your vehicle. And our third class, we actually just launched. We're super excited about it, and it's our Environments class. This class helps you understand how your unique vehicle aligns to your outside world. It shows you the correct people that you might connect to in your correct environment. It shows you your true success. Now, after you go through these classes, if you're feeling like you need a little bit of extra support, if you're feeling like you want to understand how to decondition at a deeper level, if you're looking for community, I highly suggest checking out our human design support group. We have a bunch of differentiated folks in there that are going through the same process as you. We have 2 Zoom calls a month, and we also have a community page where you can ask any questions about your design or just simply share what you're going through. Now, our last offer is our 2022 forecast for the year. We go through all of the key players of what's going on for 2022 through the lens of human design, astrology, and tarot. If any of these offers sound riveting to you, I highly suggest picking them up. You can check them out in our descriptions of our show notes down below. Hello.
Hello.
Last time I didn't pause. So I just wanted to make sure I paused for you because my open throat's like, hello, everybody, we're doing this and this is what's happening. And
all the words.
All the words just get pouring out of me. And then you're just like, she said everything. Except for my name. You don't know our names. Should we say them?
Yeah.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Leah.
And together, we are the Human Design and Astro Club.
I was practicing at the same time as you, but we hadn't practiced, so I wasn't sure.
Next time we're going to do it. We're going to do it in sync. Maybe in sync will be here. No, they won't. They're never getting back together. Let's just.
So sad.
It is really sad. There was a love for them that I'm not going to share because it's embarrassing. I'll just tell you guys, my walls were covered.
I think that our audience might be around our age.
Some of them might. I mean, some of them are because we know them. And like in our support group, a bunch of them are our age too. So you probably know who we're talking about. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys,
I think I
well,
love
98
like
Degrees. Remember O-Town?
O-Town.
They
Oh,
weren't they? Wait a second. Weren't they like on, was it on MTV or something that it was
yeah,
a reality show?
it was. Yep.
And then remember that movie that they made on boy bands? But then they like, it was like a spoof on boy bands, but then I think they did like a little stuff afterwards for a second. Did they? Now I'm forgetting. I totally forgot. I watched that movie. I don't even know how many times. I had all the soundtrack memorized.
Oh my
Like
God.
it was sad. Um but this is growing up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Or oh, I got caught on my microphone, my
It's
prom
crazy.
hair.
All of that stuff is like we're going into the 20-year-olds of all of that stuff being that old, and
We're in our 30s, guys, okay? Like we're not gonna lie. I mean, is it not obvious? If it's not, now you know. We're in our 30s. Crystal does human design and astrology and Akashic records, and Leah does, I don't want to put my words in your mouth.
I have a deep passion for human design and astrology, and also read tarot for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leah likes to stick with the tarot, but she likes to, or I feel like you enjoy organizing me and learning about human design astrology. Is that correct? Would that be a correct statement?
I think that like my passion for it got so much stronger when we connected, and
Mhm.
you kind of like kickstarted me into being like, buy all these books and then I think I
Take
made YouTubes for a while, but I took them down because they were too fresh and embarrassed.
You didn't even want me to see them. I'm like, if you don't want me to see them, then I don't know if you should have anybody see them.
No, they're gone. But it definitely was, once we started working together on like Clubhouse and everywhere, it kind of just expanded both of us to
Mhm.
dive deeper into what we wanted to learn. I actually
Right.
was just reading a book on tarot before we got on here. It's called
Oh, it's always nice to like refresh. I always like to go through like the gates and channels, and like I do that when I put together my notes for the week. I like to see what Raw says. Sometimes I listen to classes because also with having an open throat, like going over his words, especially because he's a manifester, it really helps me connect to my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gives me words and like a different way to express it because he talked in riddles. So, and I'm like the Riddler. So, um, I know a lot of people have discrepancies with him, but I feel like the way that I interpret his information feels really correct for me. Like I feel aligned with his words, and I feel like that's important that you feel aligned with the person's words that you're especially sharing the system that he basically created. So, um, if you are new here, welcome. We are a podcast and we also have a YouTube channel. Hello, all 5 of you YouTubers. How you doing over there? Give us a big thumbs up if you're on YouTube and you enjoy what you're about to listen to. Okay. Now, if you're listening to us on the podcast, check out the YouTube if you want to see what we look like. I always, when I listen to podcasts, I'm very curious of what people look like. I will always go look at their Instagram. I want to see if their voice sounds like them. A lot of times you're like, whoa, that was a different mental image that I had.
Yeah.
Especially also thinking about like when people started removing their masks. Like I went to this chiropractor's office where I never saw anyone's face until like a couple times they like wanted to pull it down. I was like, whoa, I thought you looked slightly different. So it's just it's just interesting when you get to put a face to a name and a voice and all that stuff. So if you're new here, I think I've said this for the third time now. We're going to get to where I'm going. Don't worry. I have an open throat. So on this podcast and YouTube, we like to talk all things human design, astrology, tarot, anything that's related to spirituality, anything that's connected to the higher self, anything that's connected to health, wellness, self-help. That's what you're going to get on here. We have a lot of educational episodes on human design. So definitely scroll through and find one that you like. We go through ones on the types. We go through ones on the centers. That one's one of our most popular is the one on the centers. So it's called Our Inner Voices. No idea what the number is. So you'll have to find that for yourself, but you can scroll through, right? It's only, what are we at? Like 50, 55? Today 55?
This will be 58.
Oh, just a little behind as per usual. So if you like giggles, if you like to laugh, if you like to be a little weird or really weird, we don't know the level of weirdness you're going to get until we're at the end, because there's a lot of random things that come out through my open throat, and then Leah gets, her splenic hits, and then we just bounce off each other, and it's usually a good time. Usually something funny, usually something interesting. You'll always get value from us because we're both defined hearts. So no matter what, you're going to get value. That's what happens with defined hearts. Not saying that the open undefined can't give value. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the motivation from the defined heart will follow through. Let's just put it that way. If that makes sense. And if it doesn't, then I would highly suggest checking out any of our classes. And we also have a manual if you're interested in the language behind human design. Take a listen to the beginning of our episode, go into our show notes and in our description and see what we got cooking. I cook stuff in my kitchen and Leah puts it in our market. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out our environments class. So we're also in the 12 Days of Aries right now. Leah's like, are you going to talk about the 12 Days of Aries? She asked just like that, guys, through text. What?
A sneak peek into the 12 Days of Aries.
Yeah, I decided today, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm making a post. Don't make a lot of posts. Me and Instagram, I don't know how you guys feel out there in the interwebs. What do we call it? I don't know. Wherever you are, ethers, cosmos. Where are you? I don't know. Where are you getting this information from? But for myself, Leah, you can speak for yourself if you would like. I do have I don't know if I want to use the word tumultuous relationship with Instagram, but we're not best friends. And I know that they're important because literally everyone and their moms, their grandmas are on there. But people have this misconception of generators that we're just constantly producers. And people like to say that Instagram is like a generated platform, which, I mean, you can tell me your thoughts, Leah. You're defined up there. I don't hold strong opinions, even though maybe I sound like I do. I really don't. But I don't believe that Instagram is for the generators specifically. What I think Instagram is actually doing is it is amplifying our openness. Wherever you're open, it's going to really push and pull from that place. And so wherever you are, you have either an open or undefined center, you're going to be filtering the stream of Instagram through that. And if you're constantly almost like going in there for like a hit, like a lot of people go in there for like that rush, right? That's what's filling up your open and undefined centers. I'd like to make a post about this at some point. I say I would like to because there's a chance it might not happen. You just don't know, but I feel like it's an important conversation to maybe have because I keep seeing a lot of people talking about this, and specifically non-sacral saying that Instagram is for the generators. And I call bullshit on that because I don't feel, first of all, I don't want to respond to everything. I know the thing is with this, the sacral definition is we know what we want to respond to. I feel like you can tell me how you feel as non-sacrals in my that's where the challenge could potentially rise on what you should be responding to.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely right. Like, there's a lot of times where I'll go on there and I'll feel like I have to be posting things, or I feel like I have to be doing certain aspects or whatever. I mean, my background is coming from a health and wellness
Mhm.
business where I had to post 3 to 5 times a day. I had to share my life. I had to share, all the things that I was doing. And I learned a lot through that time. But I am definitely still in over a year of detox from that lifestyle, because and I don't really think it's a generator platform. I think it's a whatever you make of it. I think
Right.
there's a lot of ways that your people are taught certain things to look or appear as a different type,
Mhm.
but I think that like the not self version of us comes out a lot more,
Mhm.
and conditioned version of us comes out
Oh
a lot
yeah,
more
the conditioning. It's
because
real on there.
yeah,
So for the non-sacrals, yes, there is a lot of potential on that platform that you feel like you need to respond. It's just because it's second nature to me. I'll know what I do and don't want to respond to, and I don't think about it.
yeah,
What you're thinking is through your openness, right? You're like, I have to stop for a second because this is a little foreign for me. I don't exactly know how to consistently operate from this place, right? So for me, I I don't like scrolling. And the reason why I don't like scrolling is because I have an open head. So when I scroll through too many people's stories or too many people's posts, I start taking on their challenges and their problems what, and then like their questions. And then I start questioning things. So I'm very specific in who and what I look at. And a lot of it's not a lot. Like I don't, and there'll be days that I won't look at anything, which sometimes I'm like, this is probably not the best for business wise, I guess, to not be like consistently on there. But that's not the way that I want to run my business.
right,
I believe you as well. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but
yeah,
like we're not looking to be on there 24/7.
right. And I'm defined ahead, Ajna. So I feel like the pressure to try and get inspired by things. And when I
Hmm.
go on Instagram, it's the opposite for me. I'm like, oh my God, there's too many things for me to understand, too many things for me. And I should do this, I should do that, I should do this. And I get really overwhelmed with trying. And then my undefined root is like, you know,
Produce. I have to produce. Now I have to produce. Now I saw all these things.
yeah, you're never gonna keep up with everybody else, and ugh, it's hard to. But then I just turn it off, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. That's why I think it's important on who you're following.
Mm-hmm.
Curate your Instagram to exactly what you want to see. Stop scrolling through other people's Instagrams or stories that you have no even inclination or a spark through your own inner authority to want to respond to them or get value from them. And if you are consistently, I've already said this 5 million times, I'm going to say it again though, but if you are consistently taking in other people's energy, and this is what I've learned from Kabbalah, okay? Um, that if you're consistently taking in someone else's information, energy, whatever it is, you have to exchange with them
Mm-hmm.
or else we're off balance. And that's why we have such a like struggle with the heart energy is because we really don't understand what a proper exchange looks like and what it actually means to receive.
Yeah.
When we receive, we then have to pour into another's cup or pour back into the cup that we received from so that there is an equal balance between energy. So if any of this intrigues you, we talk about a lot of this stuff over on Instagram and human design. You'll get, my experiences on my design and also through clients I work with, through my members of my family. I don't know why I said it that way, but my family members, you'll get, what'd you say?
My members of my families.
Yeah. Yeah, those peeps. And like what Leah and I, we often are working on behind the scenes. You'll get a sneak peek on that. So for everyone that enjoys our classes, there's a lot of sneak peeks happening over there. There's a lot more details happening over there. Here, I feel like it's just a fun way to know what's happening for the week. And then when we do interviews and stuff, you'll catch some interesting conversations. And obviously we do have educational episodes, but if you want consistent understanding of what the system actually is here to do for you, highly recommend checking out both of our Instagrams, which you can find down in the description below.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of, we did mention the 12 Days of Aries. Go to
yes, I
Krista's
was just about to go
page.
back to that. So we're going back to it. We're going back to it. So I made a post on the 12 Days of Aries. Thank you for bringing me back. I was right when you were done. I was like, let Leah speak and then I'll get back to it. So you've said what I was going to say. So 12 Days of Aries, we are in it right now. We're in it to win it. If you're feeling struggly, okay, yes, that's a word, struggly. If you're feeling struggly, this is a legit term. If you're feeling challenges, roadblocks, which a lot of that is actually coming up this week in the transit. So I actually found that to be fascinating when I started comparing the two energies between the 12 days of Aries, as well as the energy for the week in general. It's all connected. We don't realize how connected all of these systems are, which are really just different filters of the same thing, right? Just a new lens to look at it through. So the 12 days of Aries, it happens every year. Okay, just so you know, so you can prepare for next year. Every year, when we have new moon Aries, we begin the 12 days. And the 12 days highlight each of the zodiac signs and the potential light that you can bring from that particular day from the darkness into the light. Because there's a lot of darkness that's going to be happening between now and the time of Passover or Pesach and the other one, Easter. The one that you're probably more familiar with, right? But if you notice, they both fall around the same time, and they both are significance of overcoming. I can speak more so for Passover because I was raised Jewish. Passover was a time when there was a lot of struggle, where my peeps, okay, they had to walk through the desert. I don't know how many freaking miles they walked. They super uncomfortable, and they were basically shunned as per usual, out of their place, and Pharaoh threw them out, and so they had to walk the desert, and it was a rough time. And so we honor and respect that time period of my people, and we have a Seder. They didn't have any. All they had was this unleavened bread that they had to carry with them on their backs, that actually turned into matzah, and that's how we got matzah. So I'm not going to bore you guys with any more of that story. And you can go look it up if you want. And so this is a time of challenge and struggle, and really recognizing what it's going to take to push through it in a way that's correct for you. And that's why Kabbalah shines a light on each of these 12 days, and to let you know that you're not doing this alone. You're not in this feeling of resistance, but also push and pressure, right? Because Aries is all about creation and manifestation and movement. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about the me. So a good question to ask yourself this week is, where do you want to go? Like, just straight up, where do you want to go? and fill in the blank for anything. Where do you want to go in life? Where do you want to go in your career? Where do you want to go in your family life? Where do you want to go in relationships? Where do you want to go in friendships? Literally pick a topic and say, where do I want to go in blank? And we'll, if you're interested in a little bit more details about the 12 days of Aries, I also gave some highlights for each of the days so that you can try to lean into that place if you would like. So go check out my Instagram post. I posted today on Monday, and then I will post again tomorrow on Tuesday, which will be the day that this is coming out. So you'll be listening to this now if you catch us on Tuesdays. And there'll be 2 posts on how to bring the light from the darkness, basically, in a nutshell.
I love it.
How
I'm
do you feel
interested.
about that?
I really enjoyed seeing all the different types, and I didn't know, not types, the different signs. I didn't know that that's the relation. I had seen this come up last year, and we did that interview with Josh about from the Kabbalah Center, and it was really interesting how he went through all of those as well. He did the same thing, but he did them in like video form.
Yep.
I don't think I this is my bright brain. I don't process it right away. And so now that I'm like seeing it again, it's like prompting me to say, okay, pay attention to this. So I'm
Yeah.
interested in
And
seeing
it's
the
for
rest.
everybody. It's not, you don't have to be Jewish to
Right.
follow Kabbalah or just to recognize the energy, because that's all Kabbalah really helps you do, is to recognize the energy of what's happening. That is really what, this is how I learned astrology,
Yeah.
was through Kabbalah. And I used to have everything memorized, like really to a T. It was like almost like scary. They'd be like, somebody would tell me their birthday, I'd be like, Gemini. And I would just be, they're like, how do you know it's so fast like that? I'd be like, I don't know. I've been to every freaking new moon for the last 3.5 years. So you listen to enough teachers, you take enough classes, you sit on enough classes, you help create enough classes, you learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox. I'm like, what is that? What is that thing? What are words? I never know. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. That's for sure. I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. That's the, I don't know. That's the fun of the open throat. Undefined throat also, but a little bit, they have some buffers they can speak through. If you're undefined throat, you got a couple little gateways for yourself. I got no gateways. I'm trying to talk through everything sometimes, and I'm like, you hear me do that, I'm like, there's just too much of my generator mind, because the generator part of me is actually in my mind. I have a reflector body. Just to confuse all you newbies, you're like, what? Like the first time you heard that, did you not go, excuse me? You're telling me that I might have 2 separate parts to me that are not even the same type? And the answer is yes, you might.
You might.
Leah does not.
I do not, but you might.
You might. I do. I see, this is the confusion of when the first time you put in your chart and you're like, this is it. I thought I was going to be a projector. I swore it up and down. I'm like, I'm a projector. Nobody freaking sees me. I like to guide people and I like to give unsolicited advice all the time. I'm a projector. No, I am just, I'm just an open-throated generator, which is the undercover. I like to just say like the undercover projector. Like you wouldn't realize like that because I do see through people. That's the gift of the open throat. I can see through people. I can see people's truth, and I can see people's lies, and I can see people's secrets, which is similar to the projector aura, except that it's almost like your entire being like penetrates other people's auras. And I was just thinking about that today, actually, because I was thinking about how the first time I stepped foot in the Kabbalah Center for my interview, I briefly told a very short part of the story in the past where I didn't know I applied to the Kabbalah Center. That's the gift of the third line. I just accidentally bumped into to a job that I had no idea that I applied to, because they gave very little information. And I thought I had applied to an office, but lo and behold, it was the Kabbalah Center. And so I remember when I went in for my interview, one of the most interesting interviews I've been in. I'm just going to say it. So the manager of the center, who is also a teacher, okay, of the center, she comes over because she has to like feel into your aura. I'm 99% sure she was a projector, or she is a projector. Because I remember, I'll never forget it. There's a feeling that happens when a projector starts absorbing another type's aura. I can physically feel it. I don't know if any other types can feel it, but I can physically feel when I'm in the presence of a projector and they're also penetrating me. I don't even know if there's words to describe it. It's slightly uncomfortable. You don't know what's happening if you're unaware that it's a projector like entering you. Basically, it's like, this sounds really graphic and detailed. I apologize, but I have gate 9. So I remember she came up to me. She was like on top of me. I felt her penetrating my aura. We made this weird eye contact, and all she did was, and she walked away. And I was like, what? I was like, what just happened? In my head, I'm like, there's so many things happening right now, and the energy in this place is crazy. It was like, if you've ever been in a vortex before, that is kind of what the Kabbalah Center feels like times 1,000. I cried for the rest of the night after I had that interview, and not because of anything that happened, because of the energy that was in that place.
Yeah.
It's like being slapped in the face with, like, I don't even know how to explain it. But it's also like one of the most beautiful experiences if you can ever go to a Kabbalah center. So if you have a Kabbalah center near you, highly recommend. The one that I used to work at, they actually closed this last year. So they went to a smaller place and they sold the building. That building was actually created specifically for Kabbalah.
Wow.
So a little sad to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just, what are your thoughts on the, before we dive in here, the projector? Like, you are a projector. Do you realize
Um,
what I just described?
I think for sure it's that repelling. I get the repelling a lot because I have 43, 23. I'm an
Mm,
Aquarius. All
mm-hmm.
of those things are very quirky and out there. So I will say things and I can tell immediately who is like in it and who is not in it.
Yeah.
Then then I worry about it for like I don't know 12 days because I'm like, God, I just said something weird. Like, oh my God, like I can almost tell when someone is like, get me out of this room, or if someone is like, please tell me more, because like we hit it off right away, and we can like walk into the same room and like laugh for no reason, or someone is just like, I can't be around you, and it's not
Mm.
like disgusting, like ew, you're gross, like straight to my face. It's just like I'm not really interested in what you have to say. And I notice that now where I'm like, okay, I can just like keep to myself and, nod and be a part of a conversation, but not necessarily like inject myself into the conversation. I have
Did
to
you
wait.
used to do that?
No, I've always been a very standoffish, kind of shy person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that. I get that from me.
hmm I know I don't walk straight into a room and it's just like, hey, look at me. It's more like, how far across this wall can I scale before
Can
someone
I can I can I become the wall?
can I become this wall? Do I have to be here? Yeah.
Yeah. I like walk into a room and I'm like, everybody, she's arrived. I don't really do that. Only honestly, I have to read the room first to know if that's available for me. That's the beauty of the open throat too, is being able to read a room. Most of the time I'm like, how do I cover myself up enough where you can't see me at all?
Yeah.
And I'm working on that part
My social
because
media used to be very manifestory. I used to
oh,
be very out, energetic,
well,
smile.
probably more manifesting generator, I would think.
Yeah, maybe that would be it.
Especially producing 3 times a day.
I was overproducing. I was overdoing everything and pretended I had all of the qualities of someone who had nothing wrong in their life when
Oh,
I always had a lot of things going on. And
interesting.
then it had to fall, it had to crumble.
How do you feel when you see that coming from other people now?
I can see it. I can tell when someone is putting
But
on a
a big fat
facade.
liar,
Yeah.
putting on a show.
Yeah. But I don't say anything. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not you really.
that.
I mean, first of all, you're a projector. It's not really your place unless somebody wants to ask you. And I
Mhm.
think it's also fucking rude to tell someone, like, hey, I realize you're a fucking liar.
Hey, fake. No, I'm just kidding.
Just turn everything off right now and just
Mhm.
stop or tell the truth, whichever you prefer.
To each your own. Do what you want to do.
I might tell too much truth sometimes. I'm not sure. I don't really have an in between. I have gate 15, gate of the extremes. I'm either all in or I'm all out. I'm not, and I'll probably say too much or I'll say too little. I just don't know.
Yeah,
So, but that's the beauty of being an individual, I guess. I don't know.
totally. Do you?
So, I guess, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, yeah,
I
that's
know I know we just kind of riffed off whatever I want to say. Uh, but I always like to leave it open for you if you want to.
good. I'm ready to hear what you have to say. I'm excited.
Okay. So this week we are shifting focus on Monday towards the heart. Okay. This is a mystical ego potential that is calling our name this week with new moon Aries energy still running through us, pulling at our heartstrings to initiate, to be first. Where in your life do you see yourself pushing this week? Or what parts of your life do you find yourself consistently pushing towards? Do you find yourself to be a competitive person? This is something that's going to come up in the theme of this week, competitive nature. Okay. Maybe become the passenger for this week and look out for your competitive nature. Also, look out for some potential shocks along the way. This always terrifies me. This is my bridge gate. So I always get nervous when this gate transits because it's kind of like sticking, for myself, I'll speak only for me, sticking my hand in a light socket. Not to scare you. It could also be good shock. Maybe you're a person that likes a surprise party. Now, I'm not. I am not a person that likes a surprise party. Do not ever surprise me with literally anything. I am a first line. I do not like being surprised. Maybe you're first line and you do. I doubt it. But if you are, then good for you. But do not surprise me. And I believe that's the reason why I needed to have this bridge gate was to learn how to be surprised by life, because that's what's going to happen this week. Now, what are we being grounded in at the beginning of this week? We are being grounded in our future, which is kind of like, Aries. Aries is like, where are we going? Right? I'm at the beginning here. What's the next move? So, which is something I also shared in a post I made about Aries. So, right now, mostly through this week, we are being offered an opportunity to almost pump the brakes for a second before we kick into high gear. Okay. So, just maybe slow down and just allow yourself to be guided by your intuitive knowing. That's what we're being grounded in. I love that this is our weekly program, that it's traveling through the 12 days of Aries. It's really showing us that there are big things that are coming if we don't feel this push to be first, and just allow for this intuitive nature to help create for us. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to surrender and not push to get things done this week. You might feel like you want to, but there's that real fired up energy from Aries, but not everything has to happen now. And I think that's a universal lesson for the collective, right? We're always in such a rush, first of all, to go nowhere. Like when I lived in Florida, freaking people flicking people off left and right on the road. And I was like, dude, you know, Slow the fuck down. All right. So don't flick anybody off this week. I also learned that they'll come after you. So just don't do that. All right. Take it from my third line. Um, so let's go back to what I was just saying. So we are in such a rush to do and get to the finish line that we forget the journey along the way. And that I believe that's the real reason why we're here. And that's also the reason why I named my business Journey Through Human Design, because life is a journey, right? There are different stages we have to go through, different seasons that we can create, different challenges, but also a lot of potential for rewards. The mystery is in the future. We never truly know which is the correct path, right, to take. And this energy is reaching for direction right now. If you look at them, they're both reaching for direction and creation, right? So, which way should I go? Might be a question to ask yourself this week. We also have a brief spleen and throat energy happening on Tuesday. So, this might be a time that all of a sudden you see how to make that vision into a reality. Okay, so Tuesday, I'll maybe do some brain dumping, okay, on where you want to go, or really like put something out there. Um, if you're listening to the podcast on Tuesday, be bold, especially because Tuesday is representing Leo energy and asking us to unite instead of being the lonely lion and trying to outshine another individual. Okay, also a little bit maybe a theme of happening this week. Um, and try finding a way on Tuesday to find connection with another. Or if you don't have anyone you feel truly connected to, then maybe a deeper connection with yourself, your soul, your higher self, your guides. There's no limit. So often we limit ourselves and what we can become that we forget there's multiple directions we can go in life and multiple ways to get there and multiple growth cycles. We must stop limiting ourselves and just allow this next week. We also have a brief emotional surge on Tuesday asking us to connect and share our experiences. So, Leah, this is going to connect for you. So, take a look at that. Um, there's also going to be another emotional surge on Friday, that feeling pressure to poke people. This is the one that I also get a little nervous with when this one comes into transit. Um, or maybe you are the one being poked. There's going to be a lot of poking happening on Friday. Okay. So look out for that. There might be feelings of passion also here with your relationships in regards to the pokes. So noodle on that. Also on Friday, there's going to be a sacral push that we're going to have for a little while, to pressure you into the right cycles. We are indeed entering into a new cosmic year, and we are being asked on Friday, how would you like to begin this next cycle? It will all be based on your design, so enter into it accordingly. This is going to be an opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities this week, especially more towards the weekend. So on Saturday, we will be shown our limitations from our past. This week is really offering us an opportunity to slow down, look what we have created in our life, and where we are pushing, and really asking ourselves, where do we actually want to go? I think that's going to be a question that's going to come up for a lot of people this week, and the pressure to do it and to figure it out. So take this next week as an opportunity to slow down and feel into your inner world. Lots of sacral, root, solar plexus, and throat energy this week. So there's a lot happening. A lot of them are brief, they're running through the moon. So just know when things run through the moon, it's like a day. It's not like, when gates run through there, it's not very long. It's 2.5 days per sign that run through the moon. So it's relatively quick. So just allow the flow of life to unfold this week. Lots of opportunities to surrender, which is super hard for the human to do, right? But you'll be able to experience new beginnings in a way that maybe you have never been able to imagine before, if you can just allow and surrender. And I speak to myself specifically with that, Crystal. You don't need to be first. You're already on top. My life is great. I'm not, what I share things that I'm working on, they're a small piece to a puzzle that has a lot of pieces already put in there. And but as we've talked about earlier, like this podcast is about self-help and self-growth, that I'll always want to evolve. I'm also a third line, right? I'll always want to grow, and I do believe that I'm here to be of service to people, which is very challenging to accept that. I don't know how you feel, Leah. We're both going down the same road, so it's not really that much of a coincidence that we're doing it together now.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're both here to do something for the greater good, something to help encourage and educate and bring people together in some capacity, whatever that looks like. We're already having our support group and
Mm-hmm.
expanding that. So I feel like we're both
Yeah.
on the path to help supporting people
And watching them,
in the wrong environment.
right. And I feel like watching, like, circle back to the support group for a second, because I was thinking about them earlier too. There's a lot of growth happening in there. Like a
Mhm.
lot of them are having a lot of realizations, epiphanies. They're really allowing um, their designs to show up just as they are, learning through the conversations that we're having on our community page, through our Zoom calls that we have every month. And really, I think those contemplation questions are really not only helping them understand the gates, but starting to realize, oh wait, this really is playing out every day, right?
Yeah. It's so interesting to read the conversation that's happening in there with everybody who's like, wow, like I didn't think anything was going to happen, but here I am, looking back, this
Mm-hmm.
is what played out. It's very cool.
Yeah. So if you're interested in taking that journey with us and also with our support group, because it's all about us working together. Leah and I are just merely facilitators of this group. We do help come up with topic conversations. We do have our weekly contemplation questions through the transit. So what you learn on here, we take it further in our community, and we're actually integrating this information. We're not just talking about it like we do on here. Like we're having real conversations of how it's playing out in our individual lives, in the collective, and the way it shows up filtering through our auras. And then we also have a lot of topic conversations on different parts of the human design chart, even astrology. We throw that in there too. And we pick topics during our Zoom calls. So if any of this interests you, you can definitely check out our support group in the description below. We'll be opening up a grander version of this through the doorway, which is next month. So we are not putting out a wait list for that. And I don't know if I want to tell you why. Oh, my child's coming in. So I don't know what we're talking about, but we can, if we lost it, we can just go into the tarot and
I think we lost it.
okay.
Um, I don't remember if I was going to ask you a question or not, but I took a bunch of notes on my sticky notes because
Oh, from
well,
today, from what I just said.
yeah,
Do you use them when you? Because I know I always see you writing over there.
I'm always writing. I
You're
look
always
back.
writing.
Yeah, I think it helps me because I need to do like multiple things. I need to like
Well, your
write
right
what's
brain,
needed. I need to write it down. Yeah, so I
right
need to.
brain needs to know what your left mind needs to focus on.
Hmm. So I think it's helpful to know that there's going to be a couple waves,
Hmm.
and
Some of them are connecting. Some that there's actually you're gonna have a wave that's not even in transit. There's just the other side of your hanging gate there, because you have one of those, right? 36.
I have 36. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
So
that one's brief. That one's brief.
yeah,
So
that's.
I
I
keep
feel
having
like
the 30 come back in.
yeah. Go away.
Just like, that's when I feel like I got to do too much, when the 30 comes in for me, because I have the 41
Yeah, it
with the
seems like this
root.
week felt really busy.
There is
Like
the, yeah, sorry.
that's
I know it
this.
already feels, it is, that's the way it's going to feel all week,
Yeah.
with a lot of emotional twists and turns. and
Super.
then like a little shock. It's like if like the theme music of this week could be dun dun dun, like it's like, but like maybe it doesn't have to be that harsh. And also, if you prepare for it, guys, it's like, okay, maybe something crazy will just come out of nowhere, but maybe it'll be crazy good. I don't know. I have no idea what your life holds. Also, I don't know where these gates, channels, astrological placements connect in your chart. It's all going to come for you different than it's coming for me. We'll be able to see collectively the theme of what's going on. That's kind of why I like to look at social media sometimes, is I get to see the collective way it's playing out, and you can really see what's happening in the sun when you're scrolling through social media, you know. And I think in like your everyday life, you can kind of visually see what's happening in the earth a little bit more. And you can kind of lean into that place a little bit more. Because again, whatever is happening in the earth, whatever's grounding you is going to be a little bit more dense. So you can kind of like hold it, touch it, carry it, see it, smell it, whatever it is.
So interesting.
Yeah. So Leah's going to pull some cards for us so we can get a bigger picture,
So
broaden our view.
let's see what comes up here. I did some extra shuffling as you were speaking, because sometimes I feel like that's a little bit helpful to kind of like, I don't know if everybody does this, but like infuse the cards with the conversation. I always like doing that. Okay, so I got what number is this? Roman numerals are killing me right now. The 6. The 6 of Swords. And the swords are all about energy, and we really cut through a lot of energy and emotion with the swords. And the 6, this one is, I'm just going to show the YouTube channel people what this looks like. You can see there's like a bigger person and a smaller person, and there's someone that's push pulling them through like this river, and the swords are in the boat, but they're holding the water from coming in. So it's sort of like we can interpret this probably a couple of different ways. So you're slowly moving away some sort of conflict that might have happened, and you're keeping yourself together. Your boat is not sinking. You don't feel like things are going underwater completely. But there is some sort of thing that might have happened. Maybe you're just moving away from some sort of event that just happened that isn't like super traumatic, although it could be. It depends on who you know, your life situation. But it could also be like you're bringing your family with you away from some sort of thing that happened, or maybe you're protecting someone who can't protect themselves, and you're putting up, this could be another scenario, like you're putting up this wall. That's what the swords are. You're putting up a wall or a barrier between you and the other, and whatever situation is going on, because you're the protector of the smaller person. And it could be also that you're just moving away from some sort of thing that happened. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing here. I feel like to relate it to what you said in the transits is just allow yourself to, figure out what is going on in your life and what you need to move away from, and all the intentions that you want to set to move forward. And with this season of Aries, like how do you want to move away from what's no longer serving you, and how can you move toward your desires and toward your intentions? So that's what that's saying. And I'm going to go back to my other deck of Work Your Light and shuffle that real quick. Okay. And this card is called Leap. And it's kind of, I don't know why you can't really see it. My camera is awful. It says, "You go first, the universe will catch you." I feel like this has a lot to do with like the Fool, which is the very first card of the major arcana, which is like basically leaping into the abyss, like allowing the universe to catch you because you don't really know what's going to happen, and trusting really that you have support. So from the book, this says, "Life bends for the courageous. The universe wants to support you, but first you need to leap, to throw your life up in the air. Perhaps you know what you are being called to leap toward or away from, but you are scared to make the move. Or perhaps you are waiting for a big fat sign or instruction manual or permission to do so first. If this is you, then this card is your sign and permission to slip, to take a deep breath, and to leap into the unknown. It's scary to let go of all that we know in hopes for something new, but it's also normal to feel anxious at the thought of letting go of what we know for sure. But this is the unavoidable process of rising. And right now, this is what you're being called to live. Nature is constantly showing us how to live with courage. Fall comes every year and encourages the trees to loosen their grip, to allow what once was so full of life to fall away, leaf by leaf. For a moment, it feels like nothing will grow again, and the branches are left bare with the comfort of what once was. But the morn, but in the morn of spring, new shoots begin to appear, and something new is born that is even more glorious than before. And that's what's happening now. We're in spring. We're starting to see. I'm up in Maine, so I'm way far behind Crystal's location, but it's we are just having like these tiny little shoots of spring, and I can feel the energy kind of shifting, where like, okay, I'm not stagnant in the winter. There's like all of this stuff is changing. There's new growth coming. The birds are coming back. There's much more movement and momentum in like the animal world. So you can kind of tell nature is like, okay, it's time to shift, time to move forward, time to create, time to plant your seeds and create these intentions, which I feel like these two both go together. Like, leave behind what's no longer serving you and move forward.
Yeah, and I feel like that's also that last card that you pulled is very gate 51. And you were
Mm-hmm.
talking about like it literally 51 represents the fool and also the courage that you need to almost take that leap, right? Take that leap of faith. It can feel shocking, right? That you're like, oh no, if I actually jump, like maybe I'll plummet to the bottom, or maybe something will catch me, or maybe
Yeah.
I'll grow wings and I'll fly.
Yeah. And that's that the the shock maybe that we don't know which one it's going to be, but you have
Hmm.
to kind of take
Yeah.
that leap, that chance to get there, and kind of like leaping away from what isn't going to serve you in the first place. Like, just let it go. Let
Yeah.
that go. Let it fall.
I think that's the hardest. Sometimes that's even the most,
Yeah.
like literally the hardest thing to do is say, this is no longer working for me. I've put all of my energy, efforts, my soul, my blood, and my blood, something and tears. What is it?
Blood, sweat, and tears.
There it is. Words. What are they? My blood, my blood, sweat, and tears. I think when you we were just talking about this, like it brings me back to 14 years in the hair and makeup business
Mm-hmm.
and allowing myself to say, this is definitely not working for me. I definitely, like after finding human design, I entered this entire situation incorrectly for myself and my design and everything that I could have done with it. And that it's okay that it didn't work. Or it's okay that I don't have the energy for it anymore.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
as a defined G center,
Yeah.
difficult.
It totally is. I feel the same. I mean, you watched me move away from my last business, and
Yeah.
my 2-4ness wanted something else to go to. I would needed my lily pad,
Yeah.
scared to move on to do something different, to disappoint, or but it just simply wasn't working for me. And when I did finally make that shift, people were like, "Wow."
Yeah, you
Like,
got a lot of recognition after that. That was interesting to
yeah,
witness.
it was interesting to hear because I was like, I didn't have any idea that I was doing things out of alignment.
Yeah. I had a lot of friends also tell me because I also refused to tell anybody what I was doing next because I have a hard thing with and this comes to my core wound of rejection
Mm-hmm.
that you can find in your unconscious Mars. Um but I didn't want to tell anybody what I was doing next because I didn't want to feel like I wasn't being supported or that I was looked at as like a freak, because I was going from kind of two extremes. It was from the external to the internal.
Mhm.
Um, and I wanted it to be for a bigger purpose as to why I was doing this. And it had nothing to do with me, because my other business was too personalized. I was too much in transferred personal view, which we'll get into view in our last class that I'm preparing right now. Really hoping we have it soon. I'm I feel the pressure this week to do it. Like especially
Yeah.
like I feel like this week I'm going to have some talks with myself, that especially with having the 25, with that being my bridge gate and wanting to get it done, right? Wanting to be first, wanting to say in my undefined root, I set this time frame. I might not be achieving it now. That's
And it's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. I'm learning to be okay with fucking divine timing, man.
It's so hard. It's hard.
So if you're
Like,
struggling with it, you're not the only one.
yeah,
If you've experienced that this week, you're not the only one. If you see me crying in my stories,
you're
I
not
might look like the only one because it's only me crying there, but I'm sure you might be crying a little bit too. There's a lot of solar plexus gates
Yeah.
activated as well as channels this week. A lot. I was like, fuck. I want to know, and I always think I'm gonna beat it too. I'm like, okay, I'm prepared. I got my I got my arm guards on. I got my helmet. I got my knee pads. Maybe a bubble of, I don't know, plastic surrounding me like I'm the boy in the bubble. Um, I always end up crying. It's just,
It happens.
it will happen again. So sometimes I cry in my stories, not, and it's not like, it's not for attention. Um, I don't know why I feel the need to say that, I guess as an open throat. Um, I guess it's looking for connection and also to let other people know that it's okay to cry, especially with having an open solar plexus. I've had a hard time allowing myself to be vulnerable and cry in front of people for a very long time, which is like what most people have a hard time doing, period.
Yeah. Well,
So,
because social media is like rainbows and sunshine.
oh yeah, you're not going to get that over with me. I am highly motivating though. It's like you don't really know what you're going to get at any given time, and it can shift and change throughout the entire day for me. I could start out either crying or on top, and then by the end of the day I'm the complete opposite way. Like you just don't know. But I am motivating you through my tears. Like it's just a defined heart. I can't help but do that. I will always be a motivating force for people. But you just don't know how it's going to be expressed because I have an open throat.
Yeah. We'll
So
see.
we'll see. We'll see what comes up. So we hope that Leah doesn't hope, actually. She's guilt motivation. I tell her to stop using that word, but then I end up using it for her. Do not hope unless you are hope motivation, and stay in the hope, okay? Not to confuse you by anything I just said. Just be yourself, okay? Let's end with that. Be yourself this week, wherever you're at. Even if you're in the not self, fucking own that shit. Be the not self. Rage. If you need to rage and scream into a pillow, yes, I do that. If you need to do it, though, do it, okay? If you need to go scream in the woods, which is something that I think about, do that. You know, you need to put your head under the pool and scream. You know, I'm giving you possibilities here.
Yeah.
There's a variety of places you can scream if you need, or jump for joy. I don't know where you're at.
I like to like stomp my feet.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't really scream too much,
Oh,
but I do like
really?
to stomp my feet. Yeah.
Interesting.
It must be something about like shaking it down, like shake it out.
Definitely shake it out, guys. We don't, if you actually, okay, we're going to end on this and then I swear this is it. I'm not, okay, I know it's swear. I take that back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say swear. If you think about animals in nature, after they, let's say, get into a conflict with each other, right? They'll separate. If you watch these animals, they'll separate. And then all of a sudden, it looks like they're almost doing a little dance or like especially you can see it especially with birds, right, where they shake out their feathers, right? Like we need to be able to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
There's trauma, and it doesn't have to be like, core wounding trauma or big T trauma. It could be little T trauma, right? And if you feel uncomfortable, there's something that needs to come out of you, right? So if do it through movement. Maybe you need to do some more movement this week. Maybe you need to go for a run. Maybe you need to do a little dance. I like to do little dances throughout the day. If like people saw me really how I operate, they'd be like, this girl, no idea what's happening with her. But I'm constantly randomly singing throughout my entire day. I make up songs all day long and then I'm dancing. Like I want to say like 30 to 50% of my day
Yeah. I
dancing.
like to play music. If I'm in some sort of a mood, I'll do a workout with some really loud music, or I will just play loud music in general and then see what comes up. And usually there's some sort of crying or laughing, or I just get over it.
Yeah.
And after I dance or do something it's like little kids have like that get the wiggles out. You know, like if they're sitting,
Yes.
all the kids are sitting around at the circle and they're all like fidgeting and they can't pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
They're reading things, they're talking to each other. Teacher's like, listen,
Everybody
let's
stand
stand
up.
up and get the wiggles out. And they do this little wiggle dance. They do it for like, 30 seconds or whatever. All the kids are like, yay, we love this. And they get all their energy out and then they sit back down and they can pay
Yeah.
attention.
We need to do that throughout our day.
We
We
need
don't
to get
know. We've forgotten what it's like to be our true selves, even just as human beings.
Yep.
So noodle on all this week.
We got you.
If you need us, you know where to find us.
Send us a message or, tag us in your social. We love to hear from our followers and our
Yeah.
listeners.
Let us know how this episode resonates with you. And we'll see ya on the next one.
See you next week.
Bye. Waving to our YouTubers.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Crystal and I are really here as defined hearts to provide value to you with our unique insights. If you have found any of this episode valuable to you, we ask that you share with a friend, tag us with a highlight on Instagram, and write us a review so we can reach more people. Human design and astrology are tools to guide us toward our transformation. You are a unique and beautiful being, and we encourage you to let that light inside of you shine bright. See you in the next episode, friends.